What you manifest in your mind, you can bring to reality.
UFC is going to China, Shenzhen, China, for a bout between the women's strawweight championship bout between Jessica Andrade versus Weili Zhang. Jessica Andrade just recently beat Rose Namajunas by slamming her on her head. Kind of. She was losing that fight. Rose tried to go for a submission instead of just readjusting while she was about to get slammed, so made a slight mistake. And Andrade won it. Quick turnaround, I think. Pretty quick turnaround, going to China to defend it. I actually think Zhang is going to win it. I just think well-rounded. There's a reason they're going to China. I'm sure the UFC would love nothing more than for Weili Zhang to win the belt, since they're putting a bunch of money into building the Performance Institute out there. It's a huge market. Finally trying to compete with one championship, which is really the only other number two. Bellator for the U.S. is number two, but globally, Bellator is like a far number three compared to the numbers that even the UFC, I would imagine, comparatively, they do similar numbers to one. But yeah, I'm sure they would love to get a Chinese champion. I wouldn't mind seeing it. Andrade, I don't have anything against her. I think she's a great fighter. I love to watch her fight. Just a tank of a woman for being so tiny and looking like Justin Bieber. But I think Weili Zhang's going to get it. I have this feeling that, Andrade isn't going to hold on to it very much because she was losing that fight against Rose, and I think Weili Zhang just a little bit more well-rounded than Andrade, so similar to Rose, except for Weili's like a little bit more stacked, so she has more of a power equalization with Andrade because Andrade is super strong as well. The rest of the card, however, I don't know. It's probably going to be fun. It's a pretty small card. There's 8 fights on the entire card, which I am totally fine with. It's an ESPN Plus card. Nice little break from the UFC. There's been a few kind of things since the last card passed. Diaz versus Masvidal, of course, was the big news. I would love to see that fight. I want to see that fight way more than I want to see McGregor versus Diaz. They can definitely put that fight on again. I would like to see Conor come in and fight somebody and just get a win before they fight Diaz, because I think Diaz is on more of a run now than McGregor. Masvidal's on a run, so I think that's going to be a great fight. I have no idea. I think they're both small for the weight. They're both like smaller guys that went up to 170, so that'll be interesting. Diaz looked great in his last fight. Hopefully that's a 5-round fight. I would love to see a 5-round fight. I don't know how they would do that. It would most likely be a pay-per-view. And then the only way to get a 5-round if it's for a belt, and they're not fighting for a belt other than the baddest motherfucker belt. So I don't know how they would pull off getting it a 5-round, because I think a 3-round fight between those two would just be disappointing. There's somehow they got to do a 5-rounder of that one. Cormier, of course, coming off his loss. Interesting to see. Still people, after Cormier is no longer a champion at light heavyweight or heavyweight, people still think it's a good idea for Jon Jones to fight Daniel Cormier. I don't understand it. These are the people that just have a love affair with Cormier. Like, a lot of them are other media people and like, oh, he's such a nice guy. He's such a good guy. It's like, I get it. But, like, you want to talk about one of the most ridiculous things, to have somebody come up and fight a third fight against somebody he's lost to twice. The second time, got knocked out, got head kicked, knocked out. Well, I guess he head kicked and then finished on the fence. But it's like there's zero reason he should be fighting Jon Jones. Zero reason at any weight class. The only fight I can see Cormier taking, which would make sense, and I would actually be excited to watch it, would be him against Stipe for a rubber match. That would be a legitimate third fight since they each have a win. Although I don't think it should be immediate. I would like to see Stipe defend it maybe against Ngannou one more time, give Ngannou another chance. But I don't know. I would actually listen. The fact that I have like hate for how much love Cormier gets, like just I get it. He's a nice guy, whatever. But a little bit overrated for me. The kind of just shine this guy gets, it's just a little bit overrated. I would love to see him retire. I think he's far better on commentating. Get rid of Dominic Cruz from the commentating booth. Dominic Cruz, amazing analyst. Get him on like a post show, somewhere where he's analyzing fights, pre, post, whatever. But no more live commentary with Dominic Cruz. Cormier is amazing doing that, right? Cormier's good at he's great at all. He's amazing at so many things. Fighting, I don't need to see him fight anymore. I don't. Like aside from Stipe rematch, that's about it. But other than that, like retire, dude. Like this would be a good time to retire. I don't know if he would win another fight with Stipe. I think Stipe is able to see it, one, after being able to rest up after fighting Ngannou and not taking a fight on short notice. He's able to rest his chin. He was able to take a lot more shots from Daniel Cormier, and I just think he's the true heavyweight. Even though he's small for heavyweight, he's a true heavyweight, where Daniel Cormier is just a lazy light heavyweight. I know he's successful at heavyweight. I think those were very good matchups at very good timing in his opponents' careers. And then, of course, Conor had an interview with Ariel Helwani, which is always good. Ariel, by far gold standard in MMA reporting, although he does have a bias towards Cormier, and he does have these like weird biases. He's trying to bring in a lot of WWE and like celebrities into his show now, which is fine. I mean, at least they're actual MMA fans. But granted, Ariel Helwani is the gold standard, and he had an interview with Conor, which was an interesting interview. It was definitely more of, it was on SportsCenter, so it was very much more of a SportsCenter-y interview versus Ariel Helwani show, MMA show interview, where it's more of a conversation, more lighthearted, but as far as just trying to be like a news interview. And Conor said all the right things, very humble, very, just taking the blame for all the stupid shit that he's been doing. He's good. He's good on the mic. He didn't seem as good on the mic. He seemed a little bit rambly, seemed a little bit, maybe not as prepared, but still said all the right things, I think, for a guy that's had some trouble. And, hopefully he comes back. I love watching Conor fight. I think he could beat Nurmagomedov. I think he could beat a lot of people in the lightweight division. And there's a lot of fun matchups for him in that division. So we'll see. And, of course, seeing him fight Diaz eventually in the future, or Masvidal, that's a little clusterfuck I wouldn't mind seeing go a few different ways. But some interesting stuff coming up in UFC, UFC fights, but kind of looking forward to this no-pressure UFC card. I wonder if it's going to be at an earlier time, being in China. And of course, this isn't telling me because it's a piece of just uneducating. So yeah, that's it for this episode of UFC Talk. Make your bets, man. I think Zhang's gonna get it. I think she's gonna get it. I would not be surprised if Andrade loses it. Would not be surprised if it's like a second round. Would not be surprised. Second round TKO. I don't know. It should be fun. I'm sure it'll be a fun card. But that's it for this episode. New episodes of this show come out every day. Subscribe on IGTV, YouTube, and everywhere else podcasts are found. Go buy my original artwork, ink paintings for sale, over 800, and save 10%. I'm sorry, save 25% when you use coupon code RTS for Ray Taylor Show. At Ray Taylor for me on all social media. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Peace out!